Hey mate, hope you're well and having a class day. So if you're watching this video right now, it might be the case that you've been spinning your wheels in the gym, ticking the box, showing up, but not quite seeing the progress that you feel you deserve for the amount of time and effort you've put in, and ultimately you'd like to see better results with your physique, your performance, and your overall energy and health, okay? And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to talk about how to break through those plateaus and take things to that next level. You know, where you're nice and lean, you can see your abs, you're strong and robust in the gym, and generally you just have good energy throughout the day. Alright, so I'm going to break down the exact system that I use for myself and with my clients. Alright, so I know how frustrating it can be to be in the gym week after week, doing the reps, feeling like you're doing the work, but progress just isn't there, you know? It's just not happening. And when we're not feeling progress, something can happen to us, you know, we start to feel like we're just stuck. We start to feel frustrated, and that can cause us to feel like, you know, throwing in the towel, essentially, feel like giving up. And that's where that sort of stop-start cycle always comes into play. All right, as a man, we need to be seeing progress to essentially feel good, have good mental health, good energy on a day-to-day basis, feel like we are progressing and working towards something with purpose. All right, so that's why I'm making this video, just to explain a few modalities that we can actually install into our life that's essentially just going to help you start winning, start seeing progress, start feeling good, start feeling you've got that energy, that fire, that spark back in your life around these kind of things. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to jump into a few kind of client case studies just to give you an idea of, you know, what sort of methods we've used with these guys, because I could tell you about all my own stuff, but you know, the proof's in the pudding. You know, when you can actually help someone else go through that process, you know, I feel like that's a much better representation of, you know, my ideas and my kind of opinions around these kind of things. So let's have a look at my client Sam. All right, Sam was in the team for 6 months. Sam has an incredibly busy job. He organises and runs like dance house festivals all over the world, like really well known big ones. So he is very busy, has a very kind of social job, so meeting up with a lot of clients, a lot of dinners, a lot of drinks out. So, you know, very social job, very busy, all over the place, all the time. And you know, for him, he just had let himself get to the point where work was the number one priority. You know, he was trying to train, he was trying to eat healthy, but like nothing was happening. So that's when he reached out. You know, that's when he reached out. We had a chat, discussed his goals, took a deep dive into his lifestyle, and then, you know, once I kind of figured out like what is actually going to work for this guy, we just decided, you know, the best option was like keep the approach as simple as possible. And you know, that's what I do with myself as well. I'm very busy, run my business, gig at the weekend, do jiu-jitsu, all my training, social life, have my girlfriend as well, go and see family. So I'm always very busy. So the approach that works best is just, you know, the minimal effective dose that is actually going to get the results, keeping things very simple. All right, if I was to hit Sam with, you know, a 6-day-a-week program, you know, he had to do meal prep, you know, all this Tupperware shite, like, you know, optimize his habits like some kind of mad biohacker. That's just not going to work. So we had to actually be realistic and take a simple approach that was going to actually fit around his real lifestyle. You know, he's very busy, working a really high pressure job and out and about meeting people all the time. Okay, so we had to take the kind of most simple approach possible, and what we done was just basically gave him a 3-day split in the gym, in and out in an hour, 3 days a week, you know, getting strong on the key lifts, you know, getting nice and fit, nice and robust, building muscle, building that real world functional strength. I think he doubled his deadlift in the time working with us, and he also could do, you know, weighted pull-ups by the end of it, where in the beginning he couldn't even do a single pull-up. So we made a hell of a lot of progress there. And of course, through the habits, the nutritional side of things, he was able to lose, you know, 45 pounds of body fat, taking him from, you know, probably obese, to be honest, to just speak bluntly, to a place where he had a very healthy body fat percentage, very, very healthy. You know, we gave him a nutrition strategy that allowed him to still eat out, still go out for drinks with clients, with friends, have a very, very active social life. But, you know, we just made sure we knew his numbers around calories, macros, micronutrients, making sure that he was staying nice and full, getting, you know, enough energy from his food, eating the right foods for his hormones, for his energy levels, so that he could just live this incredibly stressful yet fulfilling life that he leads. So we built the most simple process possible, you know, daily non-negotiables around his habits, around his sleep, his nutrition, his movement, and his just general sort of like stress management, to make sure that he was managing his mind properly so he could actually do all of this stuff long term. And, you know, as a result, 45 pounds down, nice and lean, robust physique, like just really, really solid result from Sam, while still being able to actually live the way he wants. You know, we could have gave him a really unsustainable approach where he might have lost a bit of weight faster, he might have seen quicker results, but at the end of the day, if we're not dialing in the habits that are going to last a lifetime, there's absolutely no point, because he's just going to put on all the weight after, he's going to quit the gym, it's going to be too hard, and he's just going to go back to exactly how he was before. So I take a bit of a slower, more methodical, scientific approach to make sure our clients are actually building habits for the long term. And, you know, Sam was a member of the team for 6 months, done really, really well. I caught up with him, you know, 6 months after he left the program, a year after he left the program, just checking in, making sure he was doing well, making sure he's keeping on top of all this stuff. And he is. It stuck. He made it work. He's still in great shape and still doing absolutely everything he loves to do. So it's about building those sustainable habits that is actually going to change your life for the rest of your life, not just for the duration you're on the program. All right, so that's an example of what we've done with Sam. Another client I'd like to talk about is Harrison, professional musician, gigs most nights, teaches music during the day. Another very, very busy guy, got a lot on. All right, likes a drink, likes to socialise, all that good stuff. Just a good lad, right? But, you know, he was at the point as well where his physique had just like gone right downhill. He wasn't happy with how he was looking, you know, carrying a lot of body fat. Skin wasn't in the best position either. He wasn't happy with how his skin was looking, just wasn't feeling confident, wasn't feeling strong, just wasn't feeling fit, wasn't feeling robust. So yeah, we gave him a very kind of similar approach to Sam. Very simple 3-day-a-week split, smashing the key lifts, getting really, really strong across the board. You know, we looked at diet, we checked his nutrition report every week, daily touch points, making sure we were staying nice and accountable in terms of his lifestyle habits, his workouts, you know, making sure he was lifting with good form, making sure we were giving him the correct loads to lift in the gym every single week, and just keeping that really strong communication throughout the entire process. Now, Harrison's been a client for, you know, a couple of years now, and he's gone from, you know, being out of shape, carrying way too much body fat, not feeling good with how his skin looks, how he feels, feeling lethargic, to now actually feeling fantastic. You know, he's playing tennis for hours on end, really good fitness levels. His lifting in the gym is awesome. He's hitting some big numbers in the gym, nice and lean with a six-pack, getting compliments from random strangers when he's out and about socialising about his physique and stuff like that. So it's epic, and you know, now he's on his way to becoming a dad as well. his partner's pregnant, so he's just building the foundations to just be the healthiest, strongest dad he can possibly be, while balancing his extremely busy lifestyle and just really dialing in on his training. It's became a habit as well. It's became a habit that is lasting long term. You know what I mean? It's no quick fix bullshit, rebound approaches that you're going to see a lot of these days. It's like real sustainable habits that it's going to keep you in shape for life. So that was Harrison, another amazing result. And you're seeing kind of like similarities to the approach. It's an approach, it's a system that works for really busy guys, to be honest, really busy guys, that have like a busy job, a busy social life. They have partners, they have girlfriends, they have family commitments, but they can make it work because we make it sustainable. We make it sustainable. We make it something that is going to last. All right. Another client that I worked with, another guy called Sam, really good guy, professional drummer, also has a day job. So again, extremely busy. He's got a young child as well, so he was balancing all of that. And he just got to the point as well where he was feeling really unhappy with his energy. He was feeling quite burnt out. He was just feeling like sort of under muscled. He was feeling kind of skinny fat. Just didn't like how he was looking, how he was performing. We actually trained Sam from home. He didn't even step in a gym once. We just got him to buy a set of adjustable dumbbells. He done all his workouts from home, and we managed to progress things really well with that. Another 3 session a week split worked really well for Sam. Again, just making sure he was lifting with good form. Because he was training at home, we used some different methodologies to make sure he was progressively overloading with the weights he had available. We took a deep dive into his nutrition, made sure he was getting all the vitamins, minerals he needed to be healthy. His protein was on point, his calories were on point, and by the end of working together, the guy had a bloody 8-pack, and he ran a marathon and didn't even feel fatigued the next day. So yeah, proof's in the pudding there. He absolutely smashed it out of the park. Really good to work with Sam, an absolute gent as well. So yeah, that's the thing with all the guys I work with as well. Like, all absolutely fantastic guys, get on so well with them, have like a really good back and forth with them, have good banter, and they just become like really close friends as well. I checked in with Sam just the other week there. He's been off the program for about 6 months now. I was like, how are you getting on? How's things looking? And he was like, yeah, I'm still in absolutely great shape, still keeping up with absolutely everything, progressing all the sort of habits we installed. He's actually built upon them. He was sending me all these kind of things that he's now doing, adding on top of what we were doing, and he's absolutely killing it. So just goes to show, like, the habits we build, you can continue, carry on with these yourself, build upon them, get even better. So it's like, it just lit that fire, and he's still going today, which is awesome. It was really cool. Another client that we took through this kind of process was Callum. So Callum has, geez, oh man, he's a different level, man, different beast. He absolutely killed it. So when he joined the team, man, he was just mentally in a bad place, feeling really drained, lethargic, just a bit kind of like no fire. He just wanted to set a goal and just get that discipline back in his life. So, he's a guy that he loves his training. He just hit a big plateau with it. So basically, first step for him was just get him healthier, get his body leaner, and then, from there, see what he wants to do after that. He eventually decided he wanted to enter an ultra marathon. It was a 100k event through the hills of Scotland, essentially. So that was something he entered. We trained him up for that, got him really good with his conditioning for that event, as well as getting him nice and strong in the gym. So he was smashing PBs all the way through training for this ultra as well. He got nice and lean, he got shredded, He smashed the Ultra. He absolutely destroyed it, done really, really well. That was such a brilliant achievement. Got in the shape of his life, got a hell of a lot healthier through the process. Not saying that doing an ultra marathon is going to get you healthier, but the habits that we instilled alongside that really did help. And yeah, from there, you know, he's still a client to this day. He's gone on to do jiu-jitsu competitions, medal in jiu-jitsu competitions, and you know, we've just taken him through like quite a long bulking process where he's added a hell of a lot of muscle. He hit his 200 kilo deadlift. You know, he's benching 110 kilos for reps on the bench press. And you know, when he started, I think his deadlift was like, his maximum for one rep was like 140, 150. His bench was, you know, sitting around 70, 80. So man, he's got very, very strong in all the key lifts. I think he got his weighted pull-ups up to, I think it was 27.5 kilos for 5 reps. So this guy's a beast, man. This guy's an absolute beast. But you got to remember, when he started, he was feeling lethargic. He was actually feeling a little bit depressed. Mental health was in the bin. But you know, as guys, we need a goal, we need a purpose, we need something to aim for. So that's what we did. We gave him clear goals, clear targets, the accountability to match that, and he went on to absolutely smash it. He's in a completely different position this year than he was, you know, this time last year. So it's epic to see him. We're still working together. We're still working together very, very hard, smashing new goals. He's now kind of finished his bulking phase. He's cutting down now, and you know, when he finishes this cut, it's clear to see he's going to have put on about 6 kilos of muscle, which is incredible. So he's going to look absolutely amazing. Yeah, another client I work with, he's over in New Zealand, a guy called Jono, really nice guy, kind of works in corporate, and he also does a lot of sort of like volunteer work for the church. So just a salt of the earth guy, really, really solid dude. He's a musician as well. So yeah, got on with him really, really well. And yeah, for him, he was someone who always trained, but he was just in a position where he could never lose the stubborn fat, never lose a stubborn fat. He was hitting an absolute plateau with all his lifts. You know, just couldn't break through to that next level. So we set him up with like a proper, like, scientific periodized program for his lifting, and he's absolutely smashed it out of the park ever since. We took him through a cutting period. He got nice and lean while still building strength in the gym. So he got nice and lean, shredded, looked amazing. Now we're at the point where he's kind of coming out of that dieting phase, and he's building lean tissue on top of that. So I think he's heavier now than he was when he joined the team, but he's looking lean. He's looking a hell of a lot stronger, a lot more muscular. All the lifts, all his kind of like lifting metrics from the beginning, he's absolutely smashed them. He's lifting heavier than ever. You know, some of the stuff that used to be his 1 rep max, he's now doing, you know, for 5 reps with relative ease. You know, his deadlift, his squats, his pull-ups, overhead press, all the kind of key movements. So he's just feeling fit and strong, feeling really, really good. And you know, he's super consistent with all this stuff. We just found an approach that stuck, and he's just seen it out long term, man, and he's absolutely smashing it. So, you know, the similarities between these guys, you know, they're all just following very simplified training plans that fit around their lifestyle. You know, they have that accountability around their nutrition. We're building habits that actually last. You know, the proof there is I chat to these guys after they've left the program 6 months later, a year later, they're still absolutely killing it. So this stuff lasts, and that's the kind of approach I follow with myself. You know, very, very simple approach, strong in the key lifts, get good conditioning through your cardio. You know, make sure we know our numbers around nutrition, around our calories, our macros, our micronutrients. You know, make sure that we're getting that and staying accountable to that on a weekly basis. You know, looking at our nutrition reports, analysing them, seeing what tweaks and changes have to be made on a weekly basis, getting those weekly touch points in. That communication is absolutely solid, and you know, just becoming, you know, really, really close, working closely together to achieve amazing results. And you know, I love working with the clients that I currently work with. Like, I would happily go out for a pint with any of them and shoot the shit. Like, you know, I think I just attract guys to the team that, you know, they're hard working. You know, they like to have fun in life as well, but you know, maybe have just, you know, let things slip a little bit with their habits, their discipline, their training, and they just want to reignite that fire and just push things to the next level, a level they've never achieved before. And you know, that's what I'm here to help them with, and I absolutely love it. So, you know, if any of these guys' transformations, you know, they kind of like clicked with you and you're like, you know, that just reminds me of me, you know, like feel free to reach out from there. I'd be happy to have like a no strings attached game plan call chat with you. Just make sure you get some good advice on what to do next. You know, if you want to join the team and would be a good fit, that's absolutely perfect. But if you just want to chat, shoot the shit for a little bit and get some good ideas on what to do moving forward, that is also cool as well. So if you want to do that, you know, click the link below and we can get that set up. If not, you know, I hope this video was helpful. Anyway, you've got some good information off the back of it on what you can maybe do with your own training, with your own nutrition, to be a little bit more accountable and see those next level results. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and potentially chat soon.